Chairman Lowe,
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey,
Here.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Anthony,
Here.
Commissioner Peterson. You have a quorum.
We have before you the agenda. Any additions, subtractions, or modifications?
Motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Second. Moving to second. For the adoption of the agenda, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. We have before you the minutes. Any changes, modifications, or notes? None.
Just a comment or an observation.
Okay.
I'm grateful for the minutes being more detailed,
Yes, sir.
since we have gotten clobbered a couple of times because our minutes were not detailed enough. In some of our reviews, Ms. Monique is writing us a script. So I'm grateful for the completion of the minutes.
I'm sorry. Need a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes as
Second.
printed.
Moving to properly second for the adoption of the minutes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Don't have any cards, so Director Benedicto.
Thank you, Chairman. So first on the ED's report is Housing Choice Voucher Section 8 program. I'm going to ask Ms. Jackson if she will come up and provide the report for us.
That's what I'm talking about. He got the memo.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Commissioner Jackson is here.
How y'all doing today?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Chairman Lowe, Commissioners. I'm going to read the board report for the HCV department. For the Housing Choice Voucher Program, we have 2,913 vouchers. At the present time, we have 2,467 leased. That's an 85% utilization rate. Mainstream, we have 156 allocated, 102 leased, 66% of the vouchers are utilized. Elm Street, we have 52 units allocated, 39 are leased, with a 75% utilization rate. The emergency housing vouchers, we have 96 allocated, 42 leased, 44 utilized. We still have 58 issued and searching. We have 20 people currently on the waiting list. For our foster youth to independence, we have 25 vouchers allocated, 12 leased with a 48% utilization rate, and we have 4 issued and searching.
What's the age group on the foster youth?
18 to 25.
About aged out of the system.
They're only people who have aged out of the system.
Yes.
Question.
Okay.
How are we on getting to that 92% lease up rate for Section 8 lot?
We pulled from the waiting list, we pulled 400 from the waiting list. We had 990. So we're in the process of processing those applications and getting them issued. We came into a little roadblock when we lost a couple of caseworkers. So it was like on a standstill for a minute, but we're getting back to those applications hopefully soon, once we get our new hires into place.
Yeah, because I'm wanting us to get our hands on that 2.5 million that HUD told me for.
Yes.
And we recognize there's some, the board has been in some conversation with the ED about some concerns that individuals have over payroll. And certainly that's something that we need to revisit as the board with the ED to try to even up what takes place, you know, from entry to certification.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's something that we need to talk about. And I do apologize to those that we hadn't taken that into consideration before now, but there needs to be some leveling up in that department.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the process for Elm Street? And I should know this, but I'm gonna be ignorant and be honest about my not really having enough knowledge about Elm Street.
So with Elm Street, in the past, we had to have referrals, and the referrals came from the management at Elm Street.
Okay.
So they would give them a referral, and then they would bring the referral down to the agency, and we would let them complete the application process, do the background checks and and then if the screening passed, then we would notify the management once they had an available unit for those clients. I would have to check because we hadn't had any referrals lately from Elm Street.
And that's why I'm asking, because I think there's been some misinformation about how that process, but you're saying that it should come from the management team at Elm Street?
Yes, they have to, normally the clients that wanted to go to Elm Street would start at Elm Street first, and they would get a referral from Elm Street. They would bring it to us, to the agency down here, and we would then,
The chairman, we're having a difficult time hearing the chairman online. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Chairman?
so,
Okay.
so once we receive that referral, like I said, we would do the application process and screen the tenant, and then send the notification back to the management that they could move forward with leasing up that client.
Okay, and that's why the low lease up, because there had been some misinformation given at that location. So, thank you so much, Ms. Powell.
Anyone else?
Yeah, well, you know, the fact that we've lost staff really impacts our approach to leasing up that. So, I mean, what are we doing?
Commissioner Lindsay or Vice Chair Lindsay, I appreciate the question. Our HR manager, Starla Frazier, and both Natalia went through about 12 interviews over the past 3 days. And as of yesterday, 5 job offers have been made. Some have certifications already. And so.
They're already certified?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that's great. Okay.
One, at least one, okay, and they've all been informed on the expectation to move to a training and development culture. Starla spent all day yesterday verifying references and doing the due diligence for the necessary offer letter. So we have 5 that are onboarding next month. A couple can start immediately, and then some, of course, are given notices.
But I don't know if you realize back in 2013, I think that was before you came on board, there was always a continuing recruitment of housing specialists. So that position should never have been taken down off our website. I mean, anybody want to fill out an application, they can.
It's continuous.
That's good.
Yeah, and part of the recommendation, like I said, we think that there should be a division of salary that when you're entering and you have no qualification, that salary should be different from someone who is recertification. So we're going to make those recommendations in discussion on the employment committee to the ED as we've been talking about it. But we realize that good employees, you pay for them. And so we just want to make sure that we are in tune with what's happening in our economy.
That's for me. I've got to step out. My wife left her keys in that mess. I'll be right back.
I don't have anything else, Mr. Chairman.
That's good as it goes.
I don't, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Jackson.
you.
I appreciate you.
Okay, moving right along on the ED's report is finance. Well, greetings, Tamara, you're already up there.
Yes,
She was just
She's
ready
ready.
to go.
ready to go. All right, good morning, board members. I have really, not a lot of changes for June. We kind of went over a lot of numbers last month in the board, in the budget review. So nothing really major has happened as of right now as far as finances. our procurement manager will be coming up after me to kind of go over some, things that we'll be foreseeing here in the future and a few numbers. So really not a whole lot, but I will say that for Sunset, we did get a little bit more subsidy in. So everybody for last month was at a positive income. So that's a good thing. And we are watching our spending. We do that pretty much whenever we need to purchase anything. We make sure we do our due diligence as far as quotes and get the best for the less price. And if you notice on page 10, I know that's another report you guys like to look at. That's the HCV reserves. You'll see that there were no negatives for the month of June. We actually ended in a positive. This is in-house, 51,000. But as Ms. Jackson stated, we will be utilizing those funds soon. So that number will be decreasing along with the HHR funds that HUD is reserving for us. So all the numbers are looking pretty good right now. And like I said, next month and going forward, you will notice some changes with some things that we need to purchase, like servers and some a little cosmetic work that we need to do to the building, salaries, because we'll be beefing up our staff, so, for HCV.
Mr. Chairman, the board has been talking a little bit about getting a head start on the budget for 2023. So, and I know we had cited as September as a date where we wanted, because we wanted to make sure we got everything in a timely fashion.
Right.
So, just sharing that with the director, that we will begin to start pulling information together to start looking at budget forecasting for 2023.
Like a wish list and things of that nature, what we want to do.
Well, where we are, what we're doing, and what we'd like to be.
And what those needs might be in 2023. So we need to start working toward getting that budget.
Page 5. Explain that balance. Yeah, I'm looking at cash balance.
For
That,
public housing.
because that.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
That is from all those water leaks that they've had. It has really put a damper on the overall cash flow of
The bill hadn't
Sunset.
been adjusted by Central Arkansas Water.
No, and I asked my staff, had they received any, because we sent out the bill and we did exactly what they said, write a statement, send a bill showing it's been paid, but we have not, it's still just, double every month.
Well, based upon their own policy, Central Arkansas Water, if an main breaks through no part of the user, they're supposed to come out and adjust that bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's based on their own policy.
Yeah, I would definitely get, piggyback off on that, because that water has really hurt Sunset.
Yeah,
All those
but not to this tune here.
Yes, sir.
It's every month though, Chairman, it's been like, remember, it started last year, it's just been ongoing. But you're right, I think I need to call them and say, hey, every month, because we're getting it repaired. As soon as we see it, we say, hey, this is right. We'll call maintenance and they'll have somebody come out. And Rex Plumbing has been the one repairing the bill, repairing the leaks.
Well, I'm just, shocked that CAW had adjusted that bill to reflect that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, we should have it. We should have a credit. for
A
sure.
major one.
Yeah, we should.
And we had the same issue, Chairman, just this week, wasn't it, Tam, at Madison, where they were showing that we had two buildings where it had doubled, and we contested. We contested, we can't tell what's going on, so one of the guys came out and he said if we were correct to contest it, because one digit, and they can't read it because of the way the pumps, the way they're set up. So we're having them come back out this next week to do some different things.
And
So,
to be honest, I wanna check it.
Yeah,
I wanna
just
check.
think that
I don't want-
we-
well, and I'm sure they'll do that.
Especially for that.
Yeah,
It won't be that amount, but it should be.
Yeah, I just think we don't need to be erroneous in the bill when we don't have to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to go to the PSC.
Just go, yeah.
Public
I have to
service.
go face to
They
face.
don't, the PSA ain't gonna deal with the water company because it's a local utility owned and operated by the city.
Well,
That's
we
what.
need to
that's
find
what
where the
point.
pulse is.
Yeah, that's what the point is, right there at the city board.
Yeah, I will take a look at that first thing next week, because I know we hoping to go rad soon, so we need to start closing sunset numbers out pretty quick, so
Hey,
that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tamara.
all right.
All right, well, in keeping it, so I'm gonna ask Carrie, our procurement manager, to come forward and share the procurement report. Gonna hit the high points and allow for questions, Carrie.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioner Lowe and Director Budacek. This is your procurement report. Since I've been here within a month, I have reviewed policies and procedures for HUD and for MHA. There was quite a few things that came up within that short period of time. So I'm just going to briefly kind of run through what we have here in our procurement report. We're going to start with your contracts on your A&Es. We have 5 A&E contracts that are coming up for renewal in October. Their 90-day letter or email has been sent to them, letting them know that, hey, your contract is coming up. If you would like to renew, let us know. We're going to be getting letters back from the companies to let us know if they want to renew their contract or not. That will be ready for you by the next board meeting, so you guys can start your due diligence as in voting and scoring and all that stuff in your packages. I have presented you with your scoring sheets already, so therefore you can take your time and overlook those and start scoring these A&E contractors. Commissioner Lowe, you had mentioned in your last meeting that you and the commissioners should be the ones scoring, since you're the ones that actually deal with them versus here at MHA.
Yeah, it's only 3 contracts that we deal with. A&E, audit, and legal.
Okay, so those, I haven't had anything from legal or anything that's, contracts coming up, anything, but these are the ones that are coming up for right now. We're gonna move on down to your BKD and advisory contract. We have gotten that process starting. We should have the new contract in place here by the 1st of the month. The resolution has been signed in the last commission meeting, and me and Tam is going to get together to construct a new contract to present to the directors so we can get the signatures and have that in place. Your real estate broker service contract, in the last commission meeting, it was brought up that we only had the one that actually submitted a solicitation for it. You want to check to make sure that HUD was okay with that. I reached out to HUD, HUD reached back out to me. They said, yes, we'll go ahead and go forward with that. We will put them down as a sole source because they're the only one that has responded within the 3 or 4 times that we have submitted anybody. They also noted that we make sure we put in there that we did reach out to for 4 RFPs. They want us to go ahead and mention that we did do our due diligence as far as doing an eyes. They told me to include their email that they sent to me in the contract in case HUD has any questions later on as far as auditing purposes. We are working on the scoring sheets, which I have formed a committee. They're scoring this week, and we should, after that, we'll move forward with commissioning our contract and starting our next step as far as doing our resolution. Upcoming procurement procurement needs. There are several things since I've been here that I've noticed here at MHA that kind of need some immediate attention to. I'm going to start with first the second floor. If you notice the flooring, or if you have been up on the second floor, which is the second section 8 floor, the carpet is in dire need of replacement. There are rings on the floor from water spots. There's a mold smell in there. I'm noticing that the girls are wearing masks outside of just for COVID, just to breathe. I've been told they're getting bit by something in the carpet, which is more like the carpet mites. So what I've done was I went to Lowe's and did a little ice on the flooring to see how much it would probably cost to just do that floor. They came back with their pricing at $329 a square foot, and this was just for laminate flooring. Didn't know exactly which one they were going to use. So then I've also reached out to 2 of our make-ready contractors who have submitted their bids, because we want to make sure we use anybody that we have on contract when we're trying to do any kind of business. We always want to give them that opportunity to bid also. I have those quotes if you would like to look at those. I also reached out to the company that actually did the 3rd and 4th floor, which was Sherwin-Williams. They've submitted their bid on the flooring also. And in talking with Director Budishak,
That was the second one.
if y'all don't mind, I'm calling
Erica is
Erica.
fine,
And talking to Erica, we came down and I showed her everything, and we came to an agreement that Sherwin-Williams was that came in as the lowest bid. And since they've already done the 3rd and the 4th floor, they had most information on getting that done to us. Budget-wise, we checked with the budget department, finance department, to make sure that this was in our budget. That's one thing HUD had always recommended first before we do anything, is to look at our budget. And therefore, we have looked at our budget, and once we get approval from the director and the commission, we can move forward with trying to get that done. This is I have to say, it is a health hazard, because you're breathing in mold spurs and all this other stuff when you step on it. If you would look on the next page, we're talking about the service switches. I've been working with IT on trying to get quotes and information as far as getting our IT department up and running. As you know, the last couple of weeks, we've been running into a whole lot of major issues, so this is a dire importance on my list. I'm steady talking with Carlos on where are we in place of getting stuff ahead, so we can start getting quotes and getting information back to you guys, so you can go to your next step as far as budget-wise, because we know that the server is going to be a quite expensive expense for MHA. It's not a $5,000. We're looking at probably about $20,000 to $30,000 for a server. Okay. Our next thing we're looking at is our phone service. I don't know if any of you tried to call the phone services here. They're with Ring Central. Ring Central service right now, in so many words, it's a mess. Phone calls are coming in. We can't answer phone calls. I had a vendor call me and said he tried to call me. All he hears is static. Nobody can answer phones. Earlier this week, phone service was out. So in talking with HUD, the phone services is something that we don't actually have to put out an RFP or RFQ for, because of the fact that this is more like a utility service, and it's not going to run $250,000 as a contract would. They recommend that on doing RFPs and RFQs, according to their bylaws and according to HUD's, that anything that's $250 or more in the life of a contract, we do our due diligence and do our RFP on that. So we can do our 3 bid quotes with vendors, and we can select the best one and move forward with that. And hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we can get that ball rolling and have a new phone service here at MHA. The next thing we've been working on since I've been here is the stairwells on the side by the parking lot. That needs to be repaired, repainted, reinforced, because it is a hazard also. It's kind of weak. most of y'all like me, been around Little Rock all our life, this used to be Little Rock Public School building. And when they moved, the building just sat. So therefore, there was no work done until that. So we're having that reinforced, and we did get out the reports on that also. An incident came up here recently with one of our clients out front, which prompted the note that we needed to have a security service. I've had a security service actually reach out to me before the incident, and I was kind of hem-hawing about them because I did not know if we actually need one. And then talking with Erica, this is a need. We will be interviewing security companies starting actually next week to see what they can offer us, what they can actually do for us. As far as securing our business, we need to know how many hours we're going to have them, how much the hourly rate is going to be. And hopefully by the next commission meeting, we can have you all answer on that also.
We don't have anybody in the contract?
No, we do not have anybody as far as contract concerning MHA. I don't know if the properties do or not, but I'm not quite sure on that. I haven't been
We do.
privy to that
Is
information.
there an RFP going now on the security?
Well, first, we're getting the ice, and once we get that independent cost estimate, if that threshold hits where it necessitates an RFP, we certainly will. Yes.
And if the properties do have security companies that they have in place, if you can supply them with that information when we get ready to do
Let me ask
our.
a question. What was the dollar amount for that threshold not to do an RFP?
Anywhere from $250,000 and up, $250,000.
And
Because that's the life of the contract.
And up or down?
Up. Between 10,000 and 50,000, we can do it in-house as long as we do our due diligence and get our free
That's that
quotes.
small purchase. money.
Yes, small order, yes.
See, to me, that allows a contradiction. Even in the CFR, anything above that should go out of bid.
Right, and that's why I asked them, and I was talking with Edmund Allison, I think is his name, from HUD, and he's been sitting in the back, he said, we try not to muddy the water when it comes to doing RFPs and RFQs, so it's the threshold.
I just want to know why they want to have that, that's a contradiction against the CFR.
Yes.
And why they would do that.
Yeah, he didn't state that, he just kind of just.
I mean, I would follow up, ask him, what CFR are you justifying this?
Now, he did, in his email that he sent me, which I forwarded to Erica, he stated a CFR 200.
Yeah, that has an RFP requirement, right?
But he did not send that to me, so I couldn't reference that. So I'm gonna have to go back and ask him to send that CFR to me, so I can
It
read.
doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
It doesn't make any sense.
because, yeah, and I understand what you're saying, because you're giving me information, but you're only giving me half information.
Right.
You know, just kind of, basically kind of pacify me on my question and keep it moving.
Right.
But
But see, I don't want to get dinged either.
Right. No, we don't want to do that either. We don't want to do anything that's going to cause us to have another audit.
Okay.
Also, my last point here is, Commissioner Lowe, that you mentioned in the last meeting that you wanted to look at getting some upgrades to the conference room here for presentations and all this stuff. So Director Lowe, not Director Lowe, but Erica prompted me to go ahead on and do some ISIS on a new AV system for here. I reached out to several visual companies, and what they're doing now is that they're not actually doing installations anymore.
Right.
They're doing on-site equipment. They come out, they set it up, they take it down, they take it back. But they did recommend a company that is still doing it, which is Wingers. They came out, I brought them in, we walked through, we kind of looked at what we have here. I kind of told them what I thought we might want as far as upgrading it from the up and down projection screen to the new projector, from moving this to the back, mic system and all that stuff. So they sent me a quote last week that I'm gonna give to you so you can look it over, because I know you're an IT guy. That way you can kind of see if there's a need for some of the stuff that they have on there, and if it's not, we can mark it off, which will knock down some of the price. Right now, the quote came in at 14. So after the meeting, I'll present that to you. You just take your time and get back with me and Erica and let me know what you think.
Come on, to me, that's profit for them.
Yeah,
All it require is a monitor that size with Bluetooth capabilities, where I can, my laptop, Director Benedicto's laptop, can capture that screen and put any presentation up there that they need.
right, that's why I want you to look at it, because to me, from what they said, that's just a regular TV.
Right.
So if you want to go larger than that,
Yeah, well, that's fine, but what I'm saying is the technology, that's not Bluetooth capable.
right, it's not a smart
Meaning
TV.
can't nobody here at this table capture that screen if they want to do a presentation.
Right.
They basically have to put a
That's why
thumb
they
drive
suggested a
in.
projection screen.
Yeah.
But if you want to replace this monitor with a smart TV, then we can look at that too. But like I said, I want you to look at the quote that he sent, and then you can get with me and Erica,
Okay.
and we can go from there. We can get back with it. We can always make adjustments, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Director
And-
Benedicto, I would hope that, this is a large wish list and some of it is prioritized. So I would hope that we would look at phases of the work to be done that's being requested. I do understand that a lot of it is must-have right away. But even with the visual, I'm not sure if that's really.
No, that's a wish list.
That's, so, but when we're looking at the phones and the switches, those things that we've talked about for the last 3 years, those things need to be addressed, and we need to go swiftly and moving forward. And if, I know we got voice over IP, and we really need to look at how that's working for us, as we look at phone systems, and who is providing the upgrades in voice over IP area, whether it's Verizon or, and I know that new products come out on the market every day. So we may want to look at that, because really the voice of IP and Ring Central has not served us well. And I don't know if it was because of the way that it was designed for the services we were trying to accomplish in getting it in the first place. Things like contracts, maintenance contracts, and those type of things, we would hope recovery time, if it goes down, what's the recovery time on it, and whether or not we are receiving actual money credit, or if it's just credit against the account.
Have they looked at either Comcast or AT&T's voice over IP?
They are on the list. We looked at one company, they just changed their name, I can't think of their name right now, and got a quote from them. Of course, right now, they'll throw in the desk phones too, of course, they're trying to get us, and then.
And that's another thing, how much equipment charges
Yes.
is gonna come out of this.
Right.
Because on these new systems, part of it is line side and part of it is equipment side. So definitely we wanna know
Yeah.
how much equipment
Mhm.
changes will be necessary.
And so for our other two quotes, they're on the list, Comcast, AT&T, yes, sir.
And more questions? Comment?
When was the last time the board did a policy review of the procurement process?
The one we just adopted.
Last year.
Yeah.
I mean, actual, our inside, internal look as the board is required to review how the policy is in place.
We can put it down.
Normally, we do it, we've done it in April, and I don't think we did it this year.
Well, do you want to do it every year, every 2 years? I mean,
We've done it every year in the past.
okay.
So I'm just putting that out there so we can begin.
It is a time for review.
So take a look at it.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, we're just moving right along to the legal report. Get to that tab. All right, so for the legal update report, the MHA Board of Commissioners maintained their position that there will be no settlements with former employee litigants. We have had some movement since the last report. Marshall L. Nash versus Little Rock Housing Authority, DBA Metropolitan Housing Alliance. A decision has come down since the last report, in which legal counsel initially stated she was still waiting for the judge's decision. As of June 27, 2022, the judge issued an order granting the defendant's, MHA, motion to dismiss the amended complaint and has granted the defendant's motion for sanction violations of Arkansas Rule of Professional Conduct 4.2 and wrongful elicitation of privileged attorney-client communications, and the order is also denying plaintiff's motion to dismiss defendant's motion for sanctions. In short, the defendant's motion for sanctions arise out of the plaintiff improperly contacting and obtaining information from certain individuals. Due to the plaintiff's violation of the Arkansas Rules of Professional Conduct, Nash cannot rely on the affidavits submitted by these individuals should he refile the suit. The court further denied the defendant's motion for sanctions against MHA, really the plaintiff's motion. Nash will have 30 days to do an appeal, to file a notice of appeal.
And that date should be approaching.
Be one day next week, the Wednesday of next week, 27th.
Okay, yes. No update on the declaration of trust issue regarding funding for this exhaustive title search. It still appears that there's no money available for that requirement. In terms of Pinnacle Strategy Group versus MHA, the motion to dismiss will be heard on August 25th. In prior board meeting, we were waiting on a hearing date from the court, so we do have that.
Let me help you there. All board members have been removed from the suit, including myself, because of Arkansas' indemnification clause. So you can't sue the board.
Yeah.
You can sue
They tried.
They tried. They tried.
Yes.
That's right.
So the motion to dismiss will be heard on August 25th. Moving on to, I just call this one the Fallen Tree case. Council has informed, this is Victor Bogan and Janae Henley versus Little Rock Housing Authority, DBA, Metropolitan Housing Alliance. So the council has informed the plaintiff's attorney that we do not own the property in question. Of course, we talked about this. And if the plaintiff's counsel doesn't dismiss the suit by Friday, then council will move forward with the motion to dismiss the case.
Why are they still dangling with this?
Well, you know, I don't know, because I do know that we were able to provide records of the actual owner, and it just seemed like it should be kind of closed and shut, but for whatever reason, he has not or that council has not dismissed it yet.
Okay.
Okay, so for Biddle versus MHA, no new updates. We still have a jury trial set for September 21, 2022. But other than that, and that was reported in the prior meeting. Okay, for the one-call service group versus MHA, sufficient information has been provided to the plaintiff's attorney to see if they will dismiss the suit from us. Again, counsel says if not, we will go ahead and begin the discovery process. But you just might recall, just in a very abbreviated version, we didn't have the contractual relationship with one call. So we'll see what happens there. We might be moving on to discovery. There is one piece of litigation that I learned about fairly recently and kind of got briefed on. And this is Arkansas Fair Housing Commission versus Little Rock Housing Authority. In short, a tenant residing at Paris Towers raised an ADA complaint about not having access to ADA compliant parking spaces. I believe this issue may have come up around 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the process of compiling information for the discovery request, but to be emphatic, no trial date or formal settlement demand have been made in this case. We're just still doing supplemental, at this point we're doing supplemental information to the discovery process, which lets me know that.
You want to tell the rest of the board members the special class that this individual has claimed?
Oh, okay, intervener, yes. In this particular case, the Arkansas Fair Housing, well, actually it was the state, now that I think about it, they actually filed the suit, and then the tenant came into the suit as an intervener. And so
No, that, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. No, it don't work like that.
Which is allowed. Okay.
No, because there has been a settlement on behalf of this.
That's just get back. I hear you. But no, actually, and of course, Chairman had the history, but he did catch that in that,
We need a counter. No, we just need a counter.
Well, under Arkansas case law, he can't ask for a jury trial. As an intervener, all he can do is make motions, okay? That's all he can do.
But
He's intervening on behalf of who?
No, I'm himself.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Because remember, he filed that claim with Fair Housing.
Okay.
Fair Housing tossed it over to the Attorney General's office. They took the case on his behalf.
Yeah.
But
Now,
my problem with this
Mm-hmm.
is that former staff had the responsibility through our legal and were instructed to settle this.
Of course.
And it was amenable, so somewhere, either former staff or legal dropped the ball on this matter. This matter was caused because of a lack of education about ADA and our responses to ADA by executive staff. This had nothing to do with the board, it had to do with executive staff not responding in a timely fashion. And so this is also another time where we need to make sure that those who interact with the community on our behalf understand what it is that we do when there's an ADA complaint. It is not something that lays around for 2 or 3 days and you say, I'll get to it. That's not what that happens with that.
But my thing is, I think the young man outsmarted himself.
yeah.
I think he got some bad legal advice by trying to come in as an intervener.
But what did he ever receive, and I guess we need to go back and look at our record.
Oh, he got the parking space.
Yeah.
Well, we did do the remedy. For the park.
Yeah, he did, really.
Okay,
Yeah. So what's the,
we just,
Well, we were in violation. And
Doing
the
construction.
settlement is not so strenuous that we can't move it.
remedy?
But as far as himself, he outsmarted himself by having his status as an intervener. Correct me if I'm wrong, Erica, he wanted to negotiate a settlement. And you can't do that as an intervener. You have to make your motion before the judge, and let the judge rule on it as that special status.
this is all over parking spaces during construction.
Which is
During the construction,
And it's
which
already
we met the
solved.
remedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I feel good.
Well, all righty.
Yes, sir.
Glad you're feeling good, Chairman Lowe. So, Drummond versus Little Rock Housing Authority, DBA MHA. No status update here. We have not been served unless Chairman Lowe.
Let me give you an update on that.
Okay.
Because Attorney Young filed replies and answers in court, based upon her legal research, that's a mute point.
Okay.
If she never answered it,
Mm-hmm.
then that issue could have been raised, based upon her explanation. But since an answer was filed,
She found
it
the
has
answer.
the de facto sort of service.
Okay. All
Which
right.
I didn't buy, but
No,
she's
I get it,
she's
yeah.
legal opinion.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've noted that Young has filed a response in court, which is de facto service, and it's moot now. Okay, well, anyway, well, I'll be looking for updates on that, I guess, and, I know there was an a very, brief email text that, council sent, but it wasn't very substantive, it's just, that I think there's a CHC thing, so I decided to put on the report,
Yeah.
not to muddy the water there,
Yeah.
so. That's all I have for legal update.
But they try to knock you upside the head, Ms. Amy?
We are always ready. We've got development, Brian Swanton.
Okay, yeah, I see where Brian is on. All right, for development, I know there is Apple Board today, and yeah, there's Brian's piece. Brian,
Hello, Brian.
Hey, Mrs. Swanton.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing today?
Good.
Excellent. Sorry I couldn't be there with you in person. I've got 3 presentations today, 2 in Little Rock and 1 in Portland, Oregon. So I'm going to do them all from Phoenix. But anyway, glad to be here with you today, and just here to give you a quick update on Sunset Terrace, as well as the Central and Stevens properties, of course, as well. We're proceeding with our due diligence process with the lenders and investors and on weekly closing calls with the entire attorney team from all parties involved. I think there's more attorneys and development staff on these calls. But we're working through it. We're getting very close to finalizing a package for Lument, who is our Freddie Mac lender. And once that package is complete, in the next couple of days, they'll be submitting that for credit approval. And so that process will be off and running. So feeling pretty good about that. Since the last update to the board, we have secured a staging site on the state fairgrounds, a little bit down the street from the site, which is not ideal, but it worked out just fine for us. So I appreciate the state fair staff working with us so collaboratively and helping make that happen. Overall, we're looking at an October closing timeline, and what that means is that in October, we'll be closing on our financing and start staging the site for construction. And we'll start the first phases of relocation at that point in time, trying to keep as much of the relocation on site as possible, if not all of it, in order to maintain kids in school districts and those sorts of things. We don't want to disrupt too many people's lives by moving folks off-site to other neighborhoods. So we're going to try and keep as many people on-site as possible. That's always a sort of an evolving process as people vacate units and things change throughout construction, but that's always the goal there. We did implement over the last 2 months a marketing blitz with the design group at the urging of Commissioner Anthony, and so I appreciate that push to get our development team working very closely with the design group. That marketing blitz has been pretty fruitful, actually, and in a lot of different ways, but the ultimate goal is to really try and attract as many local and minority and disadvantaged subcontractors as absolutely possible. As a result of that process, as of a week ago anyway, we had 14 new subcontractors come to the table, which was great. Not all of them have been on the project yet, but that's how many new subcontractors have indicated an interest in the project. So we're working with them, and I know Director Benedicto and her team are also working with some of these subcontractors through financial assistance and things to give them the tools they need to succeed and to bid on the project. So we'll keep the board updated as that process evolves. We are going to the ad for board, as Director Benedicto mentioned today. Today's board meeting is to approve an increase in the National Housing Trust Fund commitment to the project from ADFA. So the federal government gets an allocation of National Housing Trust Funds. Those trust funds get passed down to each of the states, and then the states allocate those to affordable housing developments like these. They actually had some excess National Housing Trust Funds, and they're allocating an additional $550,000 in gap funding to the project to help with cost overruns and interest rate increases and things that we've been challenged with in the entire industry. So that's great. Fingers crossed. If we get through today's board meeting with an approval, I think we're pretty certain that next month when we go back to ADFA for the final approval in the bonds, that should be pretty much a slam dunk at that point. So today's really the litmus test. The ADFA board has expressed, some members of the ADFA board have expressed concerns over the cost of the project, and costs have done nothing but go up since their last approval. So a little bit concerned about that, but I have been in contact with ADFA staff, and at least one board member, and I think we're going to be okay on that approval today. So fingers crossed on that. I think one thing I would like to say is that throughout all of the increase in costs, in the construction environment that we're in right now and the increase in interest rates that we've been experiencing, Bank of America has held steady on a very aggressive pricing on the tax credits, which has helped tremendously. And is coming to the table with additional funding. We have not value engineered this development one iota. So the comprehensive plan that we laid out months and months ago has not changed one bit. We have not skinny down the project. We have not value engineered any element of the project. Instead, we've just found ways to bring in additional resources to the table. And so we're really excited and happy about that, because when we're all said and done after 18 months of construction, we want this development to look like new construction when all is said and done, inside and out. And so we're excited about the plan. I'm sort of anxious about the actual board meeting, to be perfectly blunt, but very optimistic. And so after the board meeting here in about an hour or so, I'll feel much, much better about where we stand. Assuming we get the approval we need from Advocate today. But other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has for me at this time.
Well, I'm saying, but because of that October closing date, is that due to the 30 to 45 day evaluation period that HUD has?
So, well, a couple of things. Yes, we're working with Coates Rose and the legal team there on packaging. So there's two packages going in right now. One is to the lender, Lumen, for the Freddie Mac loan, and a separate package, which is very similar to HUD for the RAD conversion. And they're basically going in at almost the same time. And so there is a credit approval process on the Freddie Mac side with Lumen that'll get kicked off with that package submittal. That's a pretty efficient process, actually, so we're not too concerned about how long that will take. The HUD piece does take 45 to 60 days, and so we really need to get that HUD package submitted.
And you don't foresee them shortening that period?
You know, there's a lot of demands on HUD's time, and I just don't see, them shortening that period. Certainly not shorter than 45 days. Hopefully it won't take 60 days. But I just want to point out to folks, and we'll point out to HUD as well, that we have to close by October 31st because we've got an extension from that qualified census tract, which expired and went away. But because of some unique IRS rules, we're able to extend that for an extra year. Well, that year expires on October 31st, and no one can extend that. APTA can't extend it. It would take an act of Congress to extend it. So if we lost the qualified census tract status, we'd lose 30% of our equity, and the deal wouldn't work, and it would really literally blow up the whole transaction. So we'll make sure HUD is aware of that element. Everyone else is aware of that issue, and so we've all got to kind of get to a close table in October for sure, or else we're in real trouble. So even if it took 60 days, let's just kind of walk through a timeline. The HUD package in no later than the end of this month, which we're hoping to get it in even sooner than that. But at the end of July, that would mean if it took 60 days for HUD to process that, that would mean August and September, and give us the month of October to actually close. So we don't have any cushion if it takes them 60 days, but we still have a timeline that works within those parameters, even if it took the full 60 days to give us the green light to close.
Well, it seems as no one has any questions. We appreciate you, Mr. Swin.
Yep, no, happy to give you updates next month as well, and we're in good shape. I feel really good about where things stand. I know the residents have some concerns about the condition of the property and that sort of thing, but that's normal. This transformation will be life-changing for all of the residents there. And I just really appreciate the staff at MHA and the board working, collaboratively with Gorman and Coast Rose, the attorney team. It's taking a village to get this across the finish line, and we're almost there. So thanks for your fortitude, and we'll keep trucking.
Thank
Alrighty.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Bye now.
Bye.
He wants
Hear me
me.
out.
Yeah, we know.
Handyman.
Yeah, it's extra over there.
Anything else, Director?
Yeah, I'll just add, and I was trying to get them on during the call, but the two products for the prospective contractors, line of credits and small loans and some technical assistance through Remix Ideas, which of course, Benito has a major presence and quite active in the entrepreneurial community and Black business development. So he will do all of that, of course, at no charge. It's just in donation to MHA. So with the board's approval, of course. Just wanted to disclose that, and of course, it's also my spouse. So, but we have the list. A few have inquired about the financial assistance, and he did confirm the two financial products: line of credit and small business loans and technical assistance.
That work. Any further questions? All right, Commissioner Anthony?
We kind of just briefly talked, we know that we're in a recovery stage of employees within the HVAC, and certainly we want to look at the salary structure that's in that department for those coming in and those who have recertification. As we get closer to looking at budget, certainly as part of budget comes in the organizational chart, and where everybody is, and basically a clear definition of what their job duties are. We're seeing that already there's some need for some things to be strengthened and be a whole lot more highly qualified, which is probably going to hit our budget as we look at those positions. But we feel like we accomplished what we needed to when we did the restructure to get lean enough to move the agency where the agency needs to go in the direction. There are still a few glitches, but we expected that because we're changing attitudes, culture, and mindsets about what this job is all about and what its new agenda should look like. So we're getting there.
All right. Most of my thunder has already been stolen. But there is a timeline as far as some of the technology equipment that there's a need to buy those switches and that server right now. And come back in October, November, and buy another server. Then come back in February to buy the third, so as to not to financially impact us all at once. Because, federal government's budget begins October 1. And so those allocations of HUD funds will be released if they have a budget, if not, they have a CR. But by staging those purchases like that, it doesn't hit us all at once.
Do we have any idea what ballpark figures will be at each phase?
Well, the first phase, I can tell you, is going to be pretty steep. A good server with a RAD 5 compliant, meaning, and I don't know, and I need to ask Carlos whether or not they're going to have striping on that RAD as well. Probably about $16,000 to $18,000. That's just a server alone. We ain't talking about the switches yet.
Yeah, well, you didn't, I didn't flinch. When we say $16,000, $18,000, we know that a complete system like this could run anywhere upward of $100,000.
Right.
So when you say $16,000, $18,000 just to get us started, there's a sigh of relief there as how we share that cost within the agency to make sure that it works.
So when you get these switches, is there installation or?
Nah, You can take
So
a, you can take a
you
switch,
just plug it in?
take it out, hang it up,
Is that,
make sure you got the, cable from the
Okay.
server
So
to
that-
port 0,
all right.
and you in business.
and maintenance?
What maintenance?
That's what I'm asking. No.
I mean, you
Once
just
we
make,
get it
you
in,
just make it, a way things are going now, they're trying to make everything what they call 5G compliant.
okay.
And all that is just configuration of the network backbone. Because network configuration comes in 10 gig increments, okay? Only reason you hear this quote unquote 5G, they have no applications for the other 5G, for that 10 gig network. They hadn't developed them yet. So that's why the big push, the speed of 5G and all that, it's just that your network, back your pipe, in which your data comes over your network, is big enough to do anything. It's just, you gotta have the applications to do it.
Okay.
That's all I have. Brother Jackson,
Wait, kiosk, what about our, where are you?
what, our kiosk?
Yeah.
Yes, we are, they reached out to come and train us
Okay.
on how to use them, so we should be trained next month. We did have a little bit of delay because they put training off due to, well, kind of what Chairman Lowe was talking about. We gotta get some
Switches.
tech
Okay,
issues resolved, but
capability
yes,
in order
sir.
to manage that, I got you. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
okay.
Down slow.
And so that's what we're going, that, okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
got you.
Yeah, cause ain't no sense in,
Installing
trying
it,
to
yeah,
suck
I mean-
a rock through a pipe,
Yeah.
a straw,
I got you.
and, can't never get through.
You gotta get the capability first.
Mhm.
All right, Ron.
As far as, my report, in the last 2 months, our building has had a lot of, different organizations that come out to talk to the people. For example, Medicaid, Medicare, they even had a health fair where they brought a van in and did free, dentist screening. They talk to people about, health, how they can go by and get, the provided, help they need through insurance that's being available or, aid that's being available. 4th of July, they gave a cookout. I think they fed the whole building. Today, they giving out food to people 55 and older, which is a good thing because like commodities now, you have a certain amount of income that you can sustain in order to get commodities. If you go over that, you don't get commodities. So this way, everybody gets something, food wise.
Is that welfare?
No, it was something provided through the coordinator for war.
Well, like I said, all welfare is also
Yeah.
provided through, because the
Yeah,
reason I'm asking.
I think she's doing, in the last couple of months, I've seen her come through with a lot of different programs.
And that's that conversation that we're having at the table, Chairman,
Yeah,
because that was part of what we should be doing
yeah.
in those. I know over at Powell, they did welfare as a part of what they're doing. But this should have been going on 2018, 2019, 2020. And so since it has come back up as a point of conversation through negotiations with the development company, we are now seeing resources that should have been there and dollars that are being collected, being shared with the residents. So that's good. Is the media centers being opened up yet?
The media center is being used. Every day I go by and I see someone utilizing the computers. They have 4 in our media center, and it's about daily is 2, maybe 1 or 2 being used all the time, all through the day. They had bingo yesterday. They're still having their movie nights. They still have bingo. It's been a lot of activity in the last 2 months compared to over the whole year.
Yeah.
There's been a whole lot of activity. So that being said, everything things seem to be going good. They're trying to make the rounds to do the repairs to apartments. Yours truly has been asked questions about this and that, because the guy that will, if he don't feel that he knows about it and he knows my input on it, so he'll come by and ask me, say, well, how you do this, how you do that. But he's pretty good. Right now, it's just one guy working. And they working. They working.
He's the only one doing make ready?
Yeah, he's the only one. Him and sometime Roy comes by from Top Towers. Because I think Roy is always mainly the one that's on call. I see him call on every weekend. But other than that, everything is moving smoothly. My only question was this going on among all the towers and not just ours? Sometimes you can't leave it, one tower out, and then one tower got a manager that's going to do this, and one manager won't do this. So we're still having our residential meetings. We had one last Wednesday. Just addressing a few things that we had. They had the back door. People park in the back door, but you can go out the door, but you can't come back in. And so they were asking them about that, and they're working on trying to get that key entry. So right now, what it is we recommended that they open it up, say, from 8 o'clock until 5. And after 5 o'clock, if you don't have the key fob, you ought to come around to the front, which is understandable, because, the way things are going now, people walking up, we had 2 car break-ins, but another note too, the police calls have gone down, with this petty stuff, like, they ain't gonna turn this radio down, but other than that, it seems like it's shaking up, talking and stuff, so. That's it,
Commissioner Melinda?
I don't have, well, first I apologize for having to go away and you hadn't been able to talk. But my only question I have concerning finances is our status on audit.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. We're about to get the contract executed, so we hope to have them in by mid-August.
Next month.
They still got to finalize 19, and then they can do.
Right. And we have, that's been in the discussion. I'm asking a question.
About 2019.
Yeah, about 19, and then any sort of timeline to give us an idea about getting catch up.
I would need to give a Corey on that.
Say
So
what
let me
now?
give Corey, the auditor,
Oh, okay.
to see you right, because we do need to have that finalized.
Yes.
2019 is.
Before we
finalized.
could proceed.
Yes.
And the longer it is the behinder we're gonna get.
Yeah, because I think he was waiting on HUD, some kind of response from HUD.
Yeah.
Well, we've completed that. We've completed
He
that.
ain't gonna get their response.
Yeah.
Well, we've completed the compliance review, so that he should be freed up
Right.
to be able to complete.
To proceed once.
Yeah, we refuse.
That should suffice, but you know how the folks operate.
Yes, sir.
But I will contact him.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's it.
All right, Director Benedicto.
All right, Chairman Lowe, okay, so,
Well, let me take me back.
Oh.
Anybody from the design for equipment? In the audience?
No.
All right. Pardon my interruption.
no, you're fine, Chairman Lowe. We have one new business action item and an accompanying resolution with it. This is an amendment and restatement of the Metropolitan Housing Alliance Employee Retirement Plan and related separate trusts. It's required by law, apparently, that this is adopted on or by July 31, 2022 by the board. Some IRS legislative changes, changing the definition of spouse. requiring that the base plan has a trust agreement separate from it. So right now, I think it's all in one plan that has to now be made separate. And then there's a final change that's being made regarding the separation of the plans. And so I included all of that content in your email. It was a lot. But the attorneys at Friday, Eldridge and Clark prepared the resolution for us and made the changes to the plan for us. They did update the signature blocks on some of the content that you got in your email. They confirmed this morning. But it's just to stay in compliance with IRS. It's something that the board has to absolutely approve before or by July 31, which today would be nice.
My birthday.
Oh, that's right.
All right, yeah, what's your pleasure?
Motion,
Second.
pass resolution 6833. I mean, we have been told you gotta do it, and we read it, so let's move it.
The moving proper second, consider the resolution 2022-07-6833. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None, motion passes. Now, your motion for executive session?
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
Motion for executive session.
Update on St. John's.
Oh, yeah, so this week, actually Friday, the evaluation panel, is that correct, supposed to convene? We still had to go ahead and do an evaluation of that one.
Okay.
So that's what we learned. So those sheets have, the committee has been formed, the scoring sheets have been distributed, and they're now being turned back in, and then that one will very likely be awarded and, notified, so.
Yeah, I talked to all of them, they still interested in buying it, and I told them that, there's been some stumbling blocks along the way, but they're still interested in purchasing it.
Motion to go into executive
Let me ask
session.
one more thing. One more thing.
Hey, she got the gates.
Okay, so on Harmony, now, so what's our plan of strategy on that? We just
Notification to them, which has
Okay.
already been drafted up. There was one little thing I needed to inquire about, because it's gonna go through
But we
a
gon-
disposition process.
Gotcha. All right.
Chicago,
Gotta go
got to
through
get
that.
educated on that, but yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Especially since they don't wanna do any maintenance.
Right, that's
And
what
they
they want.
they want us to fix the doors, and that is not part of the lease agreement.
The water, get you some water.
It's just agitating. It's, I know what it is though. Not COVID though.
Okay.
Promise. That's what matters.
Second.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for permission to go in, to discuss personnel matters.
Second.
The moving proper second that we go into executive session to discuss personnel matter, all